Okay. I think I might have just nicked that and I don't know why. I've just gone 10-4. Oh, I might have cocked that up. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whatever time you're watching this, and welcome back to the Logbook. Thank you for tuning back in. If you are a subscriber, thank you for coming back. If you're not a subscriber, do subscribe. I've got news on a car that we bought. Oh my God, an absolute headache of a car that we bought out of auction. Things have started getting a little bit more sinister with that. I'm going to go into that in a bit of detail. But the purpose of this video really is to talk about how auctions, as bad as a reputation they sometimes get because they'll just put anything through, actually when it really matters do come to the party. And we've had it twice. So I have done this job for probably 5 or 6 years now, did it on the side for a little bit, and I've only ever had an auction house refund a car, bit of a giveaway as to where we're going with this one, twice. The first instance was on a Ford Focus ST, and I'll talk about that one first. So, bloody hell. Right, this Focus, I bought it, it was one of the third or fourth cars that I bought when I was trading, and I wanted to step into that performance market. So I bought a Ford Focus ST2 from BCA Auctions. Now that car was HPI clear, and it'd gone through the auctions and not sold. And I saw it on the kind of buy it now section, and I thought, right, that's weird because it was a low mileage car. It was in silver, so it wasn't the best colour, but I think it was buy it now at £4,000 and retail looks 7 to 7.5. I thought, there's plenty of chunk across that car. Anyway, I had no service history with it. Now with Fords, it's really, really difficult to get hold of service history records. Don't know why. Most of the VAG stuff is pretty easy. BMW stuff's pretty easy. Even Lexus, Aston Martin's fairly easy. Ford, nightmare. Anyway, I decided what I was going to do, because this car was only a 2-owner car, was I got the first 2 digits off the registration number, found out whereabouts in the country that was, because it tells you where the car was first registered. I then rang every Ford dealership in that area. And eventually, after about an hour and a half of trying, I managed to find the Ford dealer that had serviced that car from new every single year. So I'm thinking, right, we're on to a winner here. I've just bought a Ford Focus ST that no one else has thinks got service history on it. Everyone else thinks it's impossible to find it, and I'm nicking it out of auction. So I pulled the trigger and I bought it. When the car turned up, it was actually a very nice car indeed. Front of the car, again in decent condition. I think the bonnet and the bumper have seen paint at some point because there are no stone chips on it whatsoever, which is not what you expect for nearly 50,000 miles. So we did a couple of bits to it. Needed a pair of tyres, needed an oil and filter change, which I took it to Ford to do because I wanted to retain that service history. Needed a couple of other bits, some cosmetic stuff, bit of polishing, that sort of stuff. I did it all on my drive because that's where I was doing this job from when I first started. I then listed the car up for sale. I want to say it was 7.5 grand, it might have been 7. And somebody on one of the dealer forums put a post on saying, I'm looking for a Focus ST, nice example, low mileage, etc. Something that I can sell to one of my customers. I obviously had this car in. I thought, you know what it is. I'd take a trade deal on this actually because it's early days. I don't need to make much money per car. So I rung the bloke, sent him all the details through. He said, yeah, really like the look of the car. Can we do a deal? 5 grand, I'm making a drink. You're getting a car. Get it done. Fine, not a problem. He then rings me 2 days later before we actually transact the deal and said, Rob, I'm not being funny, but have you HPI checked this car? I said, yeah, I've done my checks, everything that you'd normally do, run it through HPI, run it through Auto Trader. Go, yeah. Have you got Motor Check? Now, this isn't a plug at all for Motor Check. I know a lot of people use Car Vertical, and that appears to be the go-to place. I use Motor Check. It's essentially exactly the same thing. I don't know if there's the same price, whatever. I've just always used it. I've tried Car Vertical. If someone wants to send me some money, I'll give it a go. But I've always used Motor Check. It's the same thing. What it basically does is it'll check and see if a car's been salvaged, if a car's been written off, if a car's been on the police database, etc. It does the full beans. Now, I didn't used to use it until this bloke told me to do it. And I did a Motor Check on this car, and this is what it found. Unfortunately, that car had been crashed, it had its VIN numbers altered and stolen recovered, and I never bloody knew it. Now I'm wondering whether or not the guys at the auctions even knew it, and I don't think they did actually, because to run a Motor Check on every car's kind of fairly expensive. I'm not sure why you'd do it, you know, just when you were looking at cars. Anyway, so I got back in touch with the bloke. I said, I'm really sorry, mate, I'd not seen that. I'm assuming you don't want the car anymore. No, I don't want the car anymore. Fine, not a problem. So what I ended up doing was I rung BCA Auctions and I explained the situation. This then went through a complaints process that took forever. And eventually they came back and they said, right, we'll give you a refund on the car. So, okay, that's great. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it because I'm kind of stuffed without that refund. I have spent £700 doing the car up or whatever the cost was at the time. No, we're not going to refund that to you. So I ended up getting the car on my low loader, and there's a video for another day on that low loader. Jesus wept. And took it down to BCA in Nottingham. Took the car back in and eventually got my money back. So that was the first and only time I'd ever been refunded money from an auction. And it was a pretty horrific experience. I was only 3 weeks, months, whatever into trading. I ended up losing money and it really put me off performance cars for ages. It took me ages to kind of get that confidence back up to buy some performance stuff. Anyway, that was a long time ago. Years and years have passed, and the next car that an auction house has refunded on is that BMW X1. Wow. And you know what it is? All credit to G3 Auctions. They have not messed about with this when it came to fruition, what was actually going on with that car. So if you've already been watching the channel, you'll have seen the video on the X1. Basically what happened, I bought it out of auction. I bought it really cheap. I thought I'd nicked it. And then it started setting in. It was probably too cheap and there might be a reason for it. Now, the reason that car was cheap was because it had been sold through what's classed as a multi-vendor. So it's a bit like me putting a car into auction. The chances are it's got a problem with it. Otherwise, why wouldn't you just trade it onto one of your traders, or why would you not retail it yourself? So I've been guilty of putting cars into auctions that have got problems, but problems that are fairly obvious to see. They might have an engine management light on, or they might be noisy, or whatever. It's fairly obvious. There's no masking a problem. And you know what it is? You take a kick in the nuts and you get on with it. I've sold a car recently, actually sold it to another trader with an engine management light on. There's no point trying to hide these things. Unfortunately, this X1 had some hidden problems in it, some fairly horrific hidden problems. So essentially what's happened with this car is it had, we thought, injector faults. So I took it to Charlie, the specialist in Bradford, said, Charlie, we think we've remedied this problem, but the injectors aren't sitting right. Either way, we're going to need some new brackets on there. Can you please sort it out? Can you please let us know what the issue is with this car, if there are anything else that we've missed? Oh boy, there was. So the first thing he said was, the injectors aren't right for this car, Rob. So whoever's put these injectors in, they're just not the right ones for this engine. They don't fit properly, and whoever's tried to fit them has broken the brackets by doing it. So that's what the problem with the brackets was, and that's why they weren't coded in properly. All right, okay, fine, Charlie. So where do we go from here? He said, well, I'm trying to work out what the problem they were trying to solve was by putting these injectors in. So I said, right, okay, leave it with me, Charlie, because I've got a claim in with G3 at the moment. So essentially, this car was sold with what's called an assured report, and that basically means that everything that's green on the car is good, anything that's red on the car is bad. If there's a problem with the car and they said it was fine, you've got a little bit of leeway there to try and sort of get a resolution from G3. Now, I've been there before with G3 in the past where I bought a 1 Series from them that turns out had snapped suspension springs on it and it was sat on its backside. On the assured report, it said ride height was okay. They came to the party, they put some money in to fix it. I've also had other cars where assured reports have said they're fine and it's been like a minor thing and I've thought it's just not worth messing about for. It happens. So you don't bother chasing everything, but when it's a biggie, you do. This X1, I thought I'm going to put a claim in on this straight away because something doesn't smell right. Anyway, so they rung me. What's going on with the car, Rob? Where is it? I said, well, it's in a specialist at the moment. He's told me it's probably going to need injectors. Okay, let us know how you get on, and obviously we'll do what we need to do at our end. Brilliant stuff, really great service. Charlie then rings me back. I've done some more digging on this, Rob, and I've got good news and I've got bad news. Okay, Charlie, what's the good news? The good news is your injectors are fine. They are correct for the car. Okay, that's good news, Charlie. That's going to save us 300 quid an injector. It will, Rob. The bad news is they've been damaged because someone's been trying to put them into the wrong engine. What do you mean the wrong engine, Charlie? That car has got the wrong engine in it. And I don't know what has happened here for this car to end up with the wrong engine, but basically Charlie's been underneath it. You can tell by the engine mounts that engine has been in and out of that car. And because the injectors are right for the car and they don't fit in the engine, I'm analysing this, that engine's bloody wrong, mate. And if the engine's wrong, what else is wrong with it? And this is a serious basket case. God, Bennett. So I've rung G3 back and without messing about, they turned around and said, we'll refund you. Can you get the car back to us? Kind of the least I can do. So sent the car back across to them. That went back across last week at some point. I've been away for a little bit and I've got an email through saying, yeah, we're going to give you a full refund on the car. So, oh, what an absolute bloody nightmare that car's been. Anyway, Problem has been resolved. So, even though auctions can sometimes get a bad rep, and I understand why, and some in particular, when it matters, what I've found is that the auction houses will still come and play. Hopefully, that should kind of give you a little bit more confidence when you're buying from a car auction, albeit it isn't bulletproof advice. You can have your leg lifted. In this instance, we appear to have got away with it, so massive shout out to G3, thank you very much. And we will continue buying from there and hopefully get some decent stock in. Anyway, in the background, we've been doing some filming as well, so I'm going to be starting a new series soon. It's going to be coming to you very shortly. I have bought a car from auction, start of a good story. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make money selling cars yourself if you want to do it. If not, it's going to be fun for the ride anyway, isn't it? So that's on its way to you soon. That should be dropping in a week or two. Hopefully you've enjoyed the ramblings of Rob this week, and we've got more content coming your way soon. Cheers.